in a strongly worded missive to the various government ministries and agencies, the president has moved to reassure Ugandans of his government's commitment to improve the state of road infrastructure in the country. But how much faith should Ugandans place in the president's promises? Today's edition of Focus on Parliament interrogates. I am Kwagala, your host, and welcome to the program. I am now joined by a panel of esteemed personalities to help us make a sense of this topic. Let me introduce them, beginning from my immediate left. Is Dr. Tolit Charles Atiya, a political economy researcher and the Associate Director at the Center for Constitutional Governance. Doctor, it's a pleasure to have you this morning. You have been quite lost. We wonder whether you have since also made the foray into the political sphere. Say hello to the viewers.
Thank you very much, Isaac. I'll start by saying congratulations.
Thank you.
And keep it at that. Welcome to the club. Pleasure to be back here. True, I've been away. As researchers, we also need to find time to be in the communities, to have a feel of what we talk about. So, you know, there has been the big talk of the transhumance group, quote unquote Balalo, who are roaming the Acholi. With a team of other people, we've been trying to do some work around that. But I'm here and it's a pleasure.
Indeed, always a pleasure to have you, Doctor. Next to Doctor is the gentleman, Mr. Apollo Tusiime. Apollo is a senior journalist covering Parliament and a member of the Uganda Parliamentary Press Association. It's a pleasure to have you, Ndogu. Say hello to the viewers.
Hi, and good morning, our viewers, and congratulations, Isaac. You look good.
Thank you.
Transformed.
Thank you.
I am always pleased to be part of the civic space. I enjoy this space.
Surely.
And as journalists, we are very busy. It's a season where our services are really crucial. And that's where I've been. I look forward to a fruitful discussion.
Indeed, it's a pleasure to always have you, Apollo. Doctor, let me start with you, since you are our expert in the sphere of policy and its implications on the wider Ugandan society. So we have the president almost in a new state of realization or reality, springing up to a stinging rebuke of his ministers and the other executives of the various government agencies, and trying to align them to focus on what he considers as the most important business of government. In this order: road infrastructure, electricity, and wealth creation. But today we are specifically focusing on the first component, which is road infrastructure. What does this speak to you?
Oh, well, thanks, Isaac. And roads definitely are an interesting thing to speak about. Why? Because roads are they're really the heartbeat of an economy. And I really don't just want to call them roads. I want to look at the component as it is. And usually it is transport communications. Because these two levers, if got right, have the ability to frog jump an economy. We know from development economics, they talk about, is it the 4 stages of development? And without going into all of them, but from takeoff stage to more or less development stage, you can frog leap if you have good transport system. But the challenge we are having in this country, and probably maybe before I talk about the challenge, I want to register my concern. We tend to create what I refer to as wrong frames. So now when you're doing an analysis, you need to conjecture something into a frame, okay? Just like a photo frame. So where do you get these boundaries? And it's very important to get the boundaries right. And put it into context. Now, our economics or our development, particularly with the NRA government of Museveni, has tended to pick a tone of quantitative economics. The narratives are quantitative. Every time they'll tell you, oh no, this economy is doing very well. It has leaped from a decimal 2% GDP, 3% GDP to 5.6% GDP. Yes, it is accepted that is a way to explain economic growth. But that is not the only way. And over time, the rest of the world is changing in how they present their economics. Many people are now beginning to factor in as well the qualitative elements of economics. Because you see now, like Kampala, let's take Kampala, where we live. In the last 2 years or 3 years or so, the talk has been potholes. There is a fair, bituminized or tarmacked road network in Kampala. From the surface, or what you'd call a bird's eye view. But when you decide to introduce new variables, for instance, I know that the Ugandan cabinet sits almost every Monday. I know that there is what they call a sectoral committee of cabinet. Now, the sectoral committees of cabinet are organized strategically in clusters. So, for instance, the one ministry that I think is like common denominator is, say, Minister of Finance, Minister of Defense, and a few of those other cross-cutting, maybe Attorney General, yes. But the rest tend to cluster. The purpose is that as Minister of, say, Transport, Works, if you are discussing the future of roads or the future of railway, you need the man from environment, you need the guy of Kampala City Authority, then you need the finance man. So I'm saying that there should be a conversation.
Are you alleging that they are employing a disjointed approach to the issue?
This is what I'm coming to, because we are discussing the president's missive. Me, when I saw it, it just confirmed to me one thing. I have always argued that this government, where it has reached, it is like a ship captain without a crew. You know, they are in the middle of the sea. The crew has lost its compass, so they are oscillating. And it can be a serious thing, because without a compass, you don't seem to find direction. Now, as if that is not bad enough, because this economy has stagnated, whether you interrogate the monetary policies, If you look at the monetary policies, for instance, we have invested in roads. But the question, the question then to ask, or the follow-up question would be, where is the calculated return on investment? You know? There are areas that are highly productive. I'll tell you like my place. I come from Pakwach, Nebi, West Nile. We border DRC Congo. We have the Goli border. Right today we are talking about coffee. Eh? But most of the coffee that we are selling in Uganda, for God's sake, actually is coming from Congo. It's not coffee grown here.
Okay.
You know? But if you look at the road which goes into Congo, Congo itself does not have roads. Then when you come to adjoin into Goli border or the border in Paida, there is a hill there called Jukia. When it is raining, people spend more than 7 days in the same country. So there are people who you'll have to go stop in Nebi, and you cannot go to Paida. That's why I was telling you that the qualitative element of these investments also needs to be interrogated. I know very sad stories where people have maybe lost beloved ones and need to go into Congo or need to go into Paida. Because, for instance, this is another thing in that cross-border element and why we need these roads. There are no hospitals on the other side of Congo, especially the Ituri side. So these guys, when they get sick, or even when they lose beloved ones, they have to carry those bodies and bring them back into Uganda, where they can get, you know, services of imbuement in the morgues. Now you imagine stuck with the body because of a bad road. So the question of the qualitative is very important. We stick with the quantitative. We are giving block figures. So the point I'm trying to make is that it beats my understanding. The same Museveni who sits with these people every Monday, there is a sectoral committee discussing the same things. Then you have the Minister of Transport go to Parliament and boldly say, we are suspending roadworks because we are broke. And I have a lot of admiration for the general because he's a very honest man. And you see, generals by their trainings, they are very practical. The guy has evaluated and has seen these politically driven statements, prepositions, because we just had we just had the budget read the other day. And there were a lot of promises in that budget. I remember, and this is how subnational this country has become. Everybody was seated. After that budget speech, the next 2-3 days, if you read the letters column in the newspapers, the question ever would be like, but
what is in there for us?
Yeah, what is, you promised us this road, it is not there. You did this. So the point is, I think this country needs to have a sincere interrogation. For me, the issue of the roads and the challenges with the roads is just a tip of the iceberg. For me, the real thing is that we have a budget crisis. We have a budget performance failure. And like the president, because that letter is a letter of lamentation. In fact, if it was the time of writing the Bible, it would fit very well.
It is.
In fact, Museveni's letters need to be collected and added in that section of the Bible. Because I keep seeing him lament, but you are lamenting with the same people you preside over. So for me, this is a captain who has lost his crew.
Thank you, Doctor, for sharing your perspective. Apollo.
Yes, sir.
Let me come to you. Let us further contextualize this issue, the president's missive to the ministers and the various executives of his government's agencies. Does it have to do with the political element going on in the country?
I want to believe so, because already we are in a political season, and it's important for any politician to exploit every opportunity that that presents itself, so long as they can get political capital out of it. I want to admit that it is important. The issue of roads is so crucial. Like Doctor said here, it's the road infrastructure is so crucial, and it's one of the crucial enablers of development and of any economy. But we should also be asking, and it is even in the president's letter, that the budget for the roads and infrastructure has been growing over time. He writes in his letter that around 2018-2019, it was it had shot up more than 6 trillion, bigger than other sectors. But what is, like he said, what is the qualitative element in the infrastructure that has been put in place? Can we see that? Can we audit the quality of the works that have been done? And not only the works themselves, but value for money. Is there value for money? We know very well that we have the most expensive roads per kilometer in this. It's Uganda, where we have those. I mean, the cost of contracts are very high and very huge, and you need to dig deep to know how much is actually invested in the roads, because in a country where there is too much corruption, there is a huge chunk will go to kickbacks, a huge chunk will go to pay interest on stalled contracts, and that is why I believe, and I want to agree with Doctor, that we need to do a serious audit. Even when we are seeing some roads, like the national roads we see, we also to have an audit on the value for money that is pumped in these roads and other infrastructure. But from where I started, I see something good out of it. Well, it could
out of the lamentations.
Yes, it could be lamentations, but at least we have seen that money has been reallocated back to the sector, and it also has another interesting element, which is so good, that it tells you that the voters have become so conscious in terms of civic awareness. Because if you remember, it all started. It came out when several ministers lost the NRM primaries. That's when it dawned on them that, hey, guys, it must be because we have not put down tangible. We have not reached out to those immediate needs of the voters. Possibly that's why they have many ministers lost their what? They are lost in the primaries. Voters, if I wish it takes. I mean, they take it further to the 2026 general elections, because roads, these are necessities of a common man. They want to take their produce. If you are promoting agriculture and commercial agriculture, then you expect these people to have better access or easier access to markets for their agricultural products. And we are talking about now even rural roads, community roads, because you cannot rely on only national roads, because you have connectivity from Chisoro now to West Nile or Nimule to Sudan. Then you hope that then you have access, I mean the people have access to markets. You need also to go and look at also how look at the state of the Maram roads, the community roads that are in communities and elsewhere. But like I said, it is good that now money has been reallocated to the road sector. But then we have to also ask ourselves, who actually made this decision? Like Doctor was saying, where did the decision come from to suspend some projects? Where did it come from? He talked about sectoral committees in cabinet. Where did it come from? Now that the president comes, who of course chairs the cabinet, now comes at the tail end, says, this was a mistake. Where did the decision come from? Perhaps, I don't want to believe that he knew, and now he wanted to come, perhaps, be the champion for the needs and the aspirations of the people. But I also want to like I said, we need an audit, a serious audit on the funds that have been pumped into the infrastructure and road sector for all this time, but also not only the funds, but also the quality of the infrastructure that has been put in place for all this time. Because look at the Northern Expressway. I think it was commissioned 2008 in Chogam, but it was even not yet completed. Then after few years, I think 5 years, developed cracks. There were defects on that road. It has been now, there have been renovations, works on that stretch, more than once or more than twice on the same road. So like Doctor said, it goes beyond just reallocating money or allocating money for the road sector, but also the qualitative element of the sector.
Apollo, before I come back to Doctor to clarify on the element of the budget performance or the lack of it, I want to ask, is the president being sincere in admonishing and rebuking his subordinates? Yet for the last 40 years, it is him that actually directs the budget. Effectively and constitutionally, as you know, he's the one that develops and draws this budget.
Actually, is the substantive minister
for finance and the chief implementer of the same budget. So, do you think the president is being sincere by expressing concern?
He is not. And that is what I said, that I don't want to believe that he wanted to come up at the tail end of when people have become agitated and everyone is asking why our roads, why did the allocation for the sector cut, because there was a shortfall of more than 2 trillion.
2.4
yes.
2 trillion.
Yes. So I don't want to believe that he is exploiting the opportunity because we are in a political season. I don't want to believe so. But again, in his missive, he actually convicts the members of parliament, or the parliament as corrupt. He talks about parliament being invaded, something like that, by people who are pushing for their selfish needs. I think something like that. So he talks about a corrupt parliament. He talks about his government, the people in his government who have actually deviated from the NRA strategy. So he forgets that this parliament is a product of a system that has been built for quite a long time, a system characterized with commercialized politics. You cannot expect a parliament that believes in kamu kamu gwe muganda. I think that's what he was talking about, in working with little to so I don't believe that he's so sincere in his judgment. When actually he has presided over a system, like you said, for now 40 years, the same system. It is the same system that has produced this parliament, the same system that has produced the leaders in his government, and like you said, he's in charge. He has been on the top. He is like the substantive minister. You remember when they even is it this budget which he actually recalled after it was passed?
Yeah.
And
Last
he
year's.
recalled, yes, he recalled, and he had to make amendments, and then it was brought back and then passed. I think he is not sincere, but he is Mr. Museveni, who we
He's
know
being
very
Mr.
well.
Museveni.
Who we know very well. I believe that is him.
Thank you, Apollo, for sharing your thoughts. Doctor, I now want us to focus on the budget performance with regard to the component of the physical infrastructure in the country, especially the roads. The president highlighted that the budget for the roads has been growing consistently. In 2005, it was a meager 375 billion. As I speak now, okay, in 2019, it grew up to 4.4 trillion. And since then, it has been around the same region, beyond 2.5 trillion consistently. Why is there a mismatch between the figures and the output on the ground?
Yeah, I think you actually begin to unpack the issue. You see, when you're looking at budget performance, you also need to put out the indicators, and it would be interesting for us to discuss this issue if we had actually thrashed out what, say, the means of transport policy has been regarding roads in the last, say maybe if we looked at the budget of 2025, so probably if we looked backwards, the last, say, 5 years, because road constructions take a bit of time. There are roads that even go for about 5 years or even 7 years to construct. And curiously is that there have been other developments. For instance, the new kid on the block, Ngobi, at the Ministry of Finance, came up and has tried to do a turnaround. His argument as well with the guys at the National Planning Authority has been that we have been running an economy tied around projects, and they think that is the wrong thing to do, particularly if you're deploying both fiscal and monetary policies at the same time. Because the challenge then is that projects are short-term in nature, they are one-off, and then they don't give a compounded view of what you want to achieve. Because, say, for instance, if I'm to allude to what Apollo has just explained about having the trunk roads done, and then you're not thinking about the interconnectedness of the roads. And then the timing is crucial. Because remember, we set out, this budget, these figures you're talking about, were always thrown towards the major roads. And we've done them. You can now go to Karamoja, you can go up Sebei, southwestern Uganda, you know. I think the tarmac roads have become like the new tourism, you know. Even villages where cows cross the road to go and they graze are tarmacked. But is this backed by any really serious study that would give you a very clear element of an objective? Say, for instance, if you're saying the objective of this road is to improve on transportation of, say, matoke to Kampala, and you're looking at it in terms of that matoke gets ripe after a short while, matoke is delicate,
perishables.
Matoke is, now you would do, the interlinkages would be things like, one, where the roads inside, say, Bushenyi, which are the major sub-counties that actually produce matoke. So you'd say, as you're doing the Bushenyi road, there must be a trunk road that goes to a particular sub-county in Bushenyi. And maybe another one in Rukungiri.
Those are the roads that are now in a very dilapidated situation.
Yes, because those would be like aggregating centers. So you find that local government, and that's why I was talking about sectoral committees, because policies, the way policies work, policies need to speak to each other. You know, in governance they call it, you know, the front enclave. That you have one policy. If this is the head, it should look that way, and this one should look this way, and then you have they form a ring, and then there's usually the outer ring, then a second ring, and then the inner ring. And the inner ring should be the ring of people. That is why, and you know, I really think there is something in this country which is not very easy to explain. Because if you look at the policy architecture on paper, it is brilliant. Because, for instance, the budget process actually starts with budget conferences at parish.
In local government.
In local government. But I bet you my right arm, because it's the one I used to eat.
If those ideas
and I love food. So I would really be very hesitant to bet my right arm. But in spite of that beautiful look, if you went to Minister of Local Government, because budgets are perceived in finance, but the interlocutors are people like local government and all this. If you went to local government and looked at their policy in relation, and you want to try and thresh out the issues in relation to budgeting, look at the district lineup.
Councils.
Yes. For instance, the district, by the districts, do they employ economists? No. By default.
No.
Because in the district,
they have a dedicated.
yes. There is no economist in the district. You have a guy of finance and whatever, administration or whatever. So the guy is looking, then you have a planner. You have a district planner who they should actually be economists, but they are held at the district headquarters. Now, if you checked in the last couple of budget seasons, even by way of numbers, how many parish budget conferences have been held? Yeah? Who attends them? How are they advertised? Yeah? Even we, the so-called elites, when we go to the villages, I don't think we ever get to know what this budget circle looks like. Because the budget circle is advertised just at the top. Even the district planner might only follow by some loose memo and say the budget circle has started. Now, even if they were properly attended, because that is where the aspirations of the people are. So you start from there, then you come to the sub-county. Then the sub-counties, you come to the district. Then the district, it is now at the district when you see Ministry of Finance officials begin to look for allowance. Say, oh, we are going, there's a big district budget conference for West Nile. Oh, there's a district budget conference. But what is the quality of these discussions? What is the evaluation tool that this is not a one-way process, that things came from down, they have come up, and they have been picked up. Now, there is a semblance. I told you the architecture is a super. There will be a national budget conference, and men with tuxedo suits, bulging stomach, but not like mine, I'm not included. They will go to conference center, sit for 2 days, 3 days, pick the allowances. But you see, how do you go to validate what you did not participate in? So my concern is, who participates in this national budget conference? So at the end of the day, you find that, and now with politics, the infusion of politics right from the district, the councillors are simply, because these are politicians. You know, the councillors are basically pushing politics. So they are pushing their interests. So by the time the budget white paper comes out, it is a complete mismatch of what was suggested yesterday and what is here now. And then remember, again at that stage, because we have a small pocket, or what do you call it? Kitty, envelope. They keep saying, and I don't think we have a small envelope. Yes, the envelope might be small, but like there's that song, you know, you saw your coach.
There is a big leakage.
Yes.
In this small envelope.
No, not small leakage. There's a gaping hole. So you find that the quality of this budget, right from process, is completely compromised. So it does not surprise me, not at all, not even one day, that year after year, what we present as choice policies are not a reflection of the wishes of the ordinary people. Now, this is even made worse because of these honorable gentlemen who keep insisting we call them honorables in the August House of Uganda.
Let us celebrate that when we return from the break. Focus on Parliament takes a short break. Do stay with us. We'll see you back shortly.
Digital rights are those human rights and legal rights that allow individuals to access, use, create and publish digital media, or to access and use computers, other electronic devices and telecommunication networks. Digital rights include a right to freedom of expression, information and communication through technology, a right to privacy and data protection, a right to credit for personal works, a right to universal and equal digital access, a right to identity, a right to anonymity, a right to be forgotten, and a right for protection of minors, among others. The state's digital rights are frequently violated through various unfair actions, for example, blockage of websites and social networks, theft of credentials, unauthorized use of people's data for personal gain, privacy intrusion, online censorship, arrests and intimidation of online users, internet blockages, and the proliferation of laws and regulations that undermine the potential of technology to drive social, economic, and political development worldwide. It is hence every citizen's responsibility to respect rights of other digital users and to speak out or report to the responsible parties when one's rights are violated.
Welcome back. You are watching Focus on Parliament on Civic Space TV. In this segment, we continue assessing the state of roads in Uganda by contextualizing the missive of the President directed at the various ministries and agencies of government, which we understand to be an effort to align these agencies into coming back to the strategy of government to improve the road infrastructure in the country. Doctor, we left it at a point where you were analyzing the role of Parliament in this entire matrix. But let me just highlight this aspect before you carry on. Parliament is in the habit of passing loans incessantly. Some of them, according to observers, financial observers, they are not well scrutinized. We don't know for what purpose. And it is claimed they support the component of boosting the physical road infrastructure in the country. So carry it on from there.
Yeah, I certainly agree wholly with the statement you just made, and it gives credence to my argument, because you see, my push is that we need to have a compounded view of our development strategies, because like we have labored to explain, it does not make any sense to have the trunk roads done and yet the network roads or community roads are not done. And this has persisted partly because we are challenged. Parliament should scrutinize government programs, and this is why Parliament is there. That is why Parliament, in proper governance, is not part of the executive. Parliament, even the MPs of the NRA, even the majority MPs in a working democracy, need to find a delicate way of how to interrelate with their executive. Yes, because they are members of Parliament of that executive. Now, we are faced with another 2 or 3 things that are not usual. I'm one of the proponents who has argued, and I really think that maybe for this matter, we need to revisit our constitution. I really think that our Parliament is not properly constituted. Because, and maybe the explanation is that, like we've always had, that maybe the parties are not working. Because the usual process, for instance, on having party members nominate delegates to stand, is that the usual practice in a party, in a vibrant party, is that members are recruited, okay? And at very sub national levels. Then they come through the ranks of leadership. But today, you find somebody offshooting from nowhere.
Because he's a businessman, he has money.
For instance, I'll tell you, I served as a school leader throughout. Maybe the only thing I did not accept was to be a timekeeper, because I was always defiant. So, but I think I held every position at school. including becoming a district, I was the student, what do they call it? Student council leader, and then the district council speaker, and therefore a delegate of the National Youth Council. But today, I meet colleagues who probably didn't even know how to take minutes of a club meeting. Today, they are telling me, my people said I stand. I'm going to stand. Why aren't you in politics? So the point I'm trying to make is that there are so many Johnny latecomers who are not in politics as politics. Politics has become some kind of panacea, especially for economic gains. And the president should not lament, because it starts with his party. He has presided over this country for 40 years. These are things that he should have fixed as part of national values. Because why would you have a party member who has served a party for maybe 10 years, been through the ranks, and now is seeking a ticket to represent a particular people, and you have that kind of person denied a chance, and you're subjecting him to a very barbarian, crude, uncouth method of archaic method of saying, now you go and stand in the line there, you also stand, let us see the best. Is that a criteria? You know, that process is already a rigged process intended to humiliate, antagonize. So this is the kind of parliament we have. We have a people who are already bitter. We have people who are bitter inside. We have people who are bitter outside. Look at the number of petitions in the NRM primaries. So the point is that I don't think the systems we are having in the parties and as a country is the best for selecting our members of parliament. I think that thing needs to be revisited. So at the end of the day, because the process is bad, we end up with bad people. The president has actually conceded that we have poor representation in the House. But the question, okay, that is fine. But the question is, what is he doing about it? Because also, as the leader of this country, he needs to give guidance. We actually, by the way, Isaac, have a ministry of national guidance, ethics and national guidance. I don't know why this man is being paid a salary. I don't know.
Incidentally, he's a member of parliament as well.
Are you sure?
Yes. The Honorable Badio Munsi.
So you see, a system that works is as good, is foolproof of the process that it undergoes to form it. So we have a parliament that is not pleading our case at all. So it does not surprise me when, like Apollo correctly stated, we are having a bill. We are having a cost bill of the construction of our roads that is difficult to explain. Two, because of the disparities in planning, you cannot have something accomplished. Yes, you have a trunk road, but the guy's banana is even getting ripe before it can get to the market, to the road to be picked. There is no network, there's no system, there's no aggregating system, you know. This government has prided in castigating the past regimes, and they have somehow managed to explain to the younger people who didn't have a chance to look into that regime or those regimes, and made them look like they presided over mediocre economies. And they have successfully done this by hiding behind figures. And I think it is important to unpack these figures. We need to unpack these figures we need to look at these things from a qualitative lens and introduce new variables. Because today people are measuring happiness. Yes, you can be saying, because for instance, they are saying, oh, we now have so much, because we have aided industrialization, there is a foreign direct investment. Even that one is a lie. Because if you interrogate the actual figures, Africa globally, the foreign direct investment that we attract as the South is only 2%. The discussion that Africa is the destination and Africa is growing and Africa is at a takeoff, all this investment is stopping in the North Sphere. Egypt, Tunisia, Morocco, Algeria. You saw the way they beat us here the other day in the football match.
Thank you, Doctor, for sharing your viewpoints. Apollo, we are staring down a deficit with regard to this component of road infrastructure of 2.7 trillion. But with our endemic levels of corruption and public maladministration, how do we get out of this hole?
I don't think we and even we are lucky the president did not mention that we lack funding or we lack funds. He also pointed to what you called maladministration and usage of the funds. It is 1.2 trillion, I think, which was later reallocated to the road sector, which I also think a big portion of it will find its way in individuals' pockets. Then at the end of the cycle, we'll find ourselves in the same position. I don't believe what His Excellency continues to put forward, that the local government has failed in utilizing the funds, the 1 billion something that is taken back to the local government. Me, I believe the road sector maintenance should be decentralized further. Where I grew up, we used to have what is called PIDA. I don't even know what it means now. And these are the, this was a group of, it was a system with a group of individuals dedicated to supervise and maintain the road networks in the villages, in the communities. What happened? And what we only talk about is the 1 billion that is taken back to what? To local governments, to every district. What happened with the project to have every district have its load maintenance equipment? What happened is they were mismanaged. Some of them, the districts could not even afford maintaining those machines, the tractors, and eventually they are grounded.
Some have never left the yard because they've never had fuel.
So they even struggle. They even struggle. Getting fuel. So if you decentralize, I hope that if we decentralize the road sector maintenance, we empower local governments to afford fuel for these vehicles, tractors mainly. We also facilitate them with the technical teams, like he said, to help them with the planning. And planning also improves what Doctor talked about, being strategic in developing these roads to ensure that they really serve the people that need them. I think that is the better way to do it. But throwing only 1 billion to each district, and you hope that billion will maintain the roads, which actually they are the roads, the road network. If you look around, most of the bigger networks of the roads are in the districts. They are not these trunk roads. They reach the common man. Exactly. They directly the common man. They link the common man, who you are now saying he must produce. Now they link him to the trunk roads that take his products to the market. So I think this lamentation of the president saying the districts have failed to utilize the 1 billion shillings that is allocated for road maintenance, I think it's something also that should be revised. Look at how you can help these local governments to continually maintain their road networks instead of now waiting for the ministry. Luckily, we had the UNRA, Uganda National Road Authority. At least those ones were working on government roads, and they would somehow support in one or another. But you dissolved UNRA. Now it is the ministry that is in charge. Like we spoke during the break, these are politicians whom you don't believe will actually look at the interest of the common man who wants this service the road offers. And I also think this debate we have today somehow reinforces the argument that it was a mistake to rationalize UNRA, because ever since UNRA was dissolved, everyone is crying. Even the members of parliament, that's when they started crying over roads. And then it also takes us back to what Dr. Tolit talked about. Where was parliament? Where was these members of parliament when UNRA was dissolved? They are the same people
that dissolved
who dissolved UNRA. And then they are the same people who are crying that the ministry has mismanaged the road sector. Where were they? Why didn't they see the value in UNRA before it was dissolved? So UNRA or not UNRA, what the common man wants is a service. They want their products to have access to the market. They want to have mobility, easy and accessible and affordable mobility to transport to move people, to facilitate the movement of people and their goods. It shouldn't be politics. Because me, I see politics to some extent. I see politics in this. Because after the president, came up with this missive, I'm sure if we had an analysis of his approval ratings, somehow they have jumped, because this is he's talking about an asset that affects a common man. When you talk about the roads, even the members of parliament who were accorded time on the floor of parliament to put up a case for the roads in their constituencies which are in bad shape, perhaps it had some political value. But the common man is not interested in this. We want to see the roads better, and it shouldn't stop here. I talked about something very important, the civic consciousness that the people actually. I still believe that it is this debate also is because perhaps the voters made their statement. Not only ministers, but even big wigs in government did not. There are still casualties from the NRM primaries. So I still wish that the people continue to demand, because that's what we can get from government. If we can, like he said, if we can get our roads fixed, if we can have affordable and reliable electricity or power, I think those are those are the enablers that a common man can benefit, can accrue direct benefit.
Dr. Tolit, beyond the political theatrics and the manipulations, whatever motivations the politicians could have, from a purely policy standpoint, what are some of those recommendations that could be implemented aimed at improving the infrastructure of the country, especially with respect to the component of the roads and the electricity, which the president has also cited as the crucial enablers of development?
Yeah, for me, Isaac, I think there are some things that need really to come to the fore. I would have expected that some of these things are being discussed, but I really don't see them discussed. For instance, we are not very clear on what our economy strategy is. You know, we ran, those who understand our development history, we ran between, there was a time we even did barter trade.
Yeah.
You know, the younger people today do not know, but there was a time barter trade is not only in the economics books. Uganda has tried it. We got, I don't know, sugar or something from Brazil. We have tried too many things. There is a lot of policy mix. But I think the time for the experiments is over. I think we need to get serious. For me, one area that I really think that we need to recast our eye into, you know, we've had this big promise of oil, which is never coming. We are living in a region that is fraught, politically fraught and fragile. We know what is happening with our neighbors in DR Congo. We have seen what is going on in Southern Sudan. We have seen an economy even stronger than ours, and with more proximity to even sea access, Khartoum, crumble. This should send us some signals. One, and then we are really, because the attempt to move from primary and commodity trade has eluded us. In the East Africa community market, so to speak, with huge promise, because the collective population in the East African market, if you now include Southern Sudan and Somalia, comes close to 400 million. But there is just no movement. The trade, because of both trade tariffs and non-trade tariffs, we have failed to do business. All these, including the big elephant in the room, which for me is the wholesale adoption of capital economy. This capital economy is just not working for us. And partly, not that capital economy does not work, but I think we don't have competence. So for me, one of the areas that I think I am really pushing for investment in is human capital. I think we need to improve our human capital, and it must be like a 2-3 pronged. There is something I have always thought about, and maybe this is the, what do you call it, a low-hanging fruit. Uganda has accepted to be a big recipient of refugees, you know, and among some of these,
this open door policy.
Yes, I think we now need to push and find out and begin to interest those who want to domicile as Ugandans, especially the professionals, you know, to improve the quality of our teachers, to improve the quality of the lecturers in the universities, to improve the quality of researchers. I think we should domesticate these people. Why are we? Because some of them have shown huge enterprise acumen. The Sudanese, we only knew about big cafes, Cafe Javas, I don't know, cafe what. These Sudanese are now hawking coffee and very expensive, very, very beautiful coffee and at a very affordable prices. The other is, we have a population in the diaspora that is well educated, that is experienced. Because some of the challenges we're having in this capital economy is that we don't have the respite to negotiate. We're failing to have people who can negotiate with World Bank. We're failing to have people who can negotiate with IMF. We are now seeing an increasing process of political failures being loaded onto Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And these are the diplomats or so-called diplomats who should be negotiating on our behalf. But what's the quality of this negotiation? So for me, the shift, I think, should be, yes, if we are continuing with this mixed economy, let us try to look at the other dividends, including improving our human capital, even in Parliament, because we already have the members of Parliament. But now let us see if we can improve the quality of the support staffs in Parliament. If we're going to continue employing people on the basis of patronage, of tribalism, we need researchers in that Parliament. High quality research. We have so many PhDs in this country. Why are they not there in Parliament? We need Parliament to get into collaborations with universities. We have so many universities now, So I really think something is not working. The bureaucracy has failed. Apollo is saying the ordinary man needs service. But do you know what is happening, by the way, actively in the last 5, 7, 8 years? Government policy, official policy is moving away from decentralization to re-centralization. And I can explain this. For instance, now, all chief administrative officers, the people popularly known as cows, were being hired by the districts before. And there, the district councillors could hold them accountable. Today, they are now hiring them centrally. The DHOs, I think, have gone back to the Ministry of Health. So there are many mismatches. You have a guy of trade. If, like, for instance, we're talking about agriculture trade, you go to a district and go look at the agriculture department, look at the Department of Trade. They are the most underfunded. They are the most understaffed. So we are running a budget which is largely a wage budget.
Perhaps, Doctor, one could argue that that's an extension of the government's rationalization policy.
No, there's not. Actually, the first place to be the first place that should have been rationalized should have been the State House, the President's office.
The politics.
As we were rationalizing, the President was appointing assistant RDC, assistant.
Rationalization should also be in Parliament.
Look at the numbers in Parliament.
He has rejected that proposal, as you know, even from his own caucus.
So you can see, I think basically, like I said, unless we recast our minds, even the other thing, URA, the tax collector, we're having challenges. By the way, we have an open door policy where so-called foreign investors invest and recoup. But I don't think that both in terms of quality and even in numbers, we have the requisite proportion of accountants. Because most of this fraud we're talking about, why it's not tangible, this corruption we're talking about, it is basically white collar corruption. So some of these things are done at process level. Cost of contracts. I read a report by McKinsey. McKinsey is an American think tank, an economic watch. Contracts in Africa are unaffordable because of corruption, kickbacks, and they are now being shunned. The reason why we are saying, money is taken back, money is not being utilized. Even the law on the PPDA, needs to be revisited. Because the bureaucracy created and of course staggered with the corruption, you find that you're getting a road contract or a school contract and you're left with 4 months. And you just realize that
you
cannot do it. Some people take it hoping they're going to buy their way out. And that's why we have a lot of shoddy work. We have a lot of money being returned. And this process, all these things are intended. So, other than lament about scarcity of money, other than let us first try to see how we can make effective of what we have. So for me, the president's call actually should be an open audit in many sectors of public service. This is when I'll begin to trust that he's not talking politics, and probably now he has met the Lord.
Thank you, Dr. Tolit, for those comments. Apollo, your closing remarks on the program.
I still believe that much of what we hear today and what we are seeing is politics. We have had a government that has been in power for 40 years. It is hard to convince me that the cadres, the NRA cadres, have forgotten their initial strategy of rationalization. As the president was saying, I don't believe that the president's intervention will solve the problem, because, like we have discussed here, there are systematic challenges in the whole system, from the budget, from its implementation, from its oversight, and even the policies. There is also a problem in the policies, because we have talked about members of parliament who do not know what they do. You dissolve UNRWA, then the next day you come back, you say it was a mistake to dissolve UNRWA. Didn't you have time to? Why did you sacrifice your independence then to later lament and play politics? So I want to believe that we have a bigger problem, and this intervention of relocating 1.2 trillion will solve the road sector challenges. I totally can't believe that. And even in the minister's report, General Katumba's report, he highlighted that the problem is bigger. That even some of the projects, the roads that today look somehow better, in the short run they will deteriorate. So there is a bigger challenge, actually bigger than what has been discussed. Thank you.
Thank you, Apollo, for joining us. Doctor, your closing remarks on the program.
Oh, well, for me, I'm going to be very brief. I really think that we have a problem at hand. I know we have castigated politics, but I also know that from a governance perspective, politics is central to government. Policy has the ability to fix a number of challenges. Actually, the cardinal role of politics is to try and create an equilibrium, so to speak, politics is actually for the ordinary man, because society by nature, it has inequalities. There are those who will always be higher on the societal ladder than others. So what politics does, or what good politics does, is that it tries to bridge.
The gap.
So politics should be able to give education to
The poor.
an orphan child. Politics is supposed to be able to afford treatment for somebody who cannot afford it. Politics is supposed to be able to speak for those who are challenged by nature, say the disabled, say the societal strata that underlooks women. That is what politics should be. But immediately you begin to see an alliance of politics and those who have. Once you see a merger, a convenience of politics and those who are seen as the top echelon of society, then, like they say, when you see a giraffe beginning to run, you first run. Don't ask why we are running. You wait until where it has reached safety, then you ask, why did we run? So I think this is where we are. Ugandans need to take off.
Mr.
Take off to where?
Isaac should wait when we return here to also talk about the challenges in the health sector. Then later we talk about the challenges in the education sector. Then that is when you will understand that the problem is bigger than what we see.
I must appreciate you, my able panelists, Dr. Tolit and Mr. Apollo, for your able participation on today's edition of Focus on Parliament. Many thanks to our esteemed viewers for watching and for your time. Much appreciation to the production department for keeping us live on air. Our dear viewers, please engage us on our various social media platforms. We are on X, we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, and we are on YouTube, where you can watch and subscribe to our channel. We'll see you next time. Be blessed.